Can I show you guys my strategy board that I worked really hard on? My name is Damon. I'm a full-time firefighter paramedic. I also work part-time. According to the internet, that's called overemployed. Apparently, when you work consistently over full-time hours, there's a phrase for it. It's called overemployed. So I'm an overemployed firefighter paramedic, consistently working 40 plus hours a week. And 4 months ago, I set out on training for my first mountain 100-mile race. And now we are 9 days out from that taking place. Now, when I say my first mountain 100-mile race, I actually already am a 100-mile ultramarathon finisher. In 2024, I did a 30-hour ultramarathon, and in that race, I clocked in 103.5 miles, can't forget the 0.5, in 29 hours. I placed 5th on the podium, which was the last podium placement in a very small group of racers. I don't know how many places there typically are on a podium, but I'm happy that that race had 5 places so I can get a sweet plaque along with my buckle. That 30-hour ultramarathon took place on a 2.3-mile looped trail in a local small forest. And the concept of the race was you just go around and around and around and around, and you get as many miles as possible within that 30-hour time frame. So in my case, that meant I went 45 times around that looped course to get 103.5 miles in that 29-hour time period. So because of that, that's where the idea of a strategy board came into play. I knew that going around and around and around and around for so many laps, it was only a matter of time, and it happened very early in the race where you lose track of how many laps you keep going. And for me, my goal was to get that 100-mile belt buckle at the end of that race. So I knew that I needed to go around that course 44 times to accomplish that goal. So in order to do that and visualize it, I came up with a strategy board idea. On my last strategy board, it just had 45 boxes around the perimeter of the poster that I made. So every time I completed a loop, my crew would X out the box, and then I can visualize my progress. So I feel like that strategy board did help me to accomplish my 100-mile goal. This is the strategy board for my upcoming mountain 100-mile race. The strategy board really serves multiple purposes. For me, I'm a very visual guy. So when I start to get into that pain cave and start to have a real hard time and my mind starts to turn on me and I hit those really deep lows, I love looking at progress. I like being able to see all that I've accomplished and to really grasp what I have to yet accomplish. One thing that I really love about ultramarathons and running in ultramarathons is that I really do view it as a team sport. Generally, there's one runner that's participating in a race, but with ultramarathons, they get to have crews, they have pacers, and when all of those people come together to accomplish this goal, I do feel like it's a shared victory. I do feel like you're part of a team. And for me personally, based on my previous 100-miler, there's no way I could have done it unsupported without my crew. They helped me to accomplish that amazing achievement. So I'm looking forward to working with the crew with this 100-miler as well. So because of that, I looked for another 100-mile race where I can have a crew. But I wanted it to feel like a real, true ultramarathon, 100 miles, point to point through the mountains. Now, fortunately, the race I'm running in 9 days is the UTMB Canyons Endurance Races, and I'm doing the 100-mile distance. Now, that takes place in Auburn, California. And I picked that location not only because the race looked awesome, but I have some very close friends out there and I need a crew to pull this stuff off because it's crazy otherwise. I don't know how people do it solo and unsupported. At this point in my ultra running experience, for a 100-mile race, I need a crew to pull this thing off. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I have friends out there in California that are very close in proximity to where this event is going to take place. Now, they don't know anything about ultramarathons, but They do like me enough and were willing to set their time, efforts, energy, and sleep aside in order to help me attempt my first 100-mile ultra race. So because I'm coming from the East Coast, my friends are in the West Coast, it's very hard to meet with all of our schedules being as chaotic as they are. It was hard for us to meet regularly throughout this training block, to be all on the same page, for me to explain and describe my needs and what my strategy is for this race. So that's why I thought a strategy board would be perfect for such an occasion. So like I said, I am a firefighter and paramedic. It's almost like the idea of a command board. I like to overthink things and I like to plan. So what's cool about this strategy board is if you have a crew that maybe is hard to meet with, or they're in some far off location where you can't have regular meetings, the strategy board is nice. The command board is great because you can just think, plan, and strategize, write all your notes and directions down, and all they have to do is follow the script when the day arrives. Now, of course, we are going to have an in-person crew meeting before race day, but we can do that when I go out there in a few days. Before that meeting, the strategy board is already done, the plan is already in place, so all I have to do is explain and describe my needs to them. 100-mile races are so intimidating, they're overwhelming, and I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't anxious or nervous at all, because I am kind of freaking out about it, but I'm excited about it. When you talk about running a 100-mile race, oftentimes the reaction and feedback you get is that you're crazy. What sane person would take on a challenge like that? And it's true, when you think of 100 miles all in one shot within a day or two of time, on foot, it sounds insane. So in order to offset that mentality, it's nice to break it down into chunks. So that's what I like to do with my strategy board. I like to break it down into bite-sized pieces. Now, granted, with a 100-mile race, a bite-sized piece would be 25 miles, which is almost a full marathon. So let me explain my Canyons 100-mile strategy board to you. You have 100 blocks for 100 miles. Technically, I think this race is 101.5, but whatever. Let's not get crazy with it. 100-mile race, 100 blocks. As I go throughout the race, my crew can be tracking me. As I see them at aid stations, they can be just checking off boxes. Again, like I said, I'm a visual guy. I like to see progress that I've made, and I also like to know what I got coming ahead of me. All the aid stations are lined up so I can visualize and they can visualize. I also have time goals associated with the aid stations that my crew is going to be at, the time that I hope to be departing from the aid station. So as they're tracking me and seeing the pace that I'm going, they can strategize the crew aid stop and assist me to the best of their abilities. These boxes to the right of the strategy board are all the aid stations that my crew will be allowed to be at. So it's nice having space to be able to write notes for them, checklists, things to do, things to not forget, things to ask me before I head out on the next leg of the race. One thing I like about having a strategy board and goals and a plan in place is seeing when that plan totally blows up. Now, granted, I was successful, but it's interesting to see where your goals are and how reality plays out. I left a note, my goal time that I hope to be departing from those aid stations, but I also left them space so they can write down the actual time that I depart that aid station, so I can see how closely I was able to stick to my game plan after the race. It's nice too to just be able to write reminders and phrases down too, because people that aren't familiar with ultra marathons or how they operate may not be familiar with some of the terminology we use. For example, do you know what a drop bag is? I can almost guarantee you that most of my crew does not, which is fine. I made notes of where my drop bags are going to be, so when we have our in-person crew meeting, it'll be a reminder to explain the drop bag procedure and where they're going to be and how I plan on utilizing them. Yes, I will have a crew, but I am also going to be prepared in case there's a hiccup and they're not there when I need them to be. I'd rather be over-prepared than under-prepared. So that's how I plan on using this strategy board at my upcoming 100-mile mountain ultra in 9 days in Auburn, California. I know for me, it'll help visually gauging my progress and what I have yet to accomplish. And I hope it'll make things a little less stressful for my crew as well, knowing that this is the plan and all you have to do is follow it. What do you think of my strategy board? Is it lame? I don't know. I'm kind of new to the ultra scene, so I don't know if things like this exist or if other people use it, but I know for me, it's been game changer. I don't know if this is something that people use or might like to use in the future to help them and their crew plan for their upcoming long races. Let me know in the comments if you think my strategy board is lame or if it's cool. I think it's cool. I'm excited to use it. I'm excited to see how my plan plays out or if my plan blows up, and then I can compare and contrast. Would you use something like this for a race? Would you modify it in any way? Would you add anything that I forgot? I don't know. Like I said, I'm new here. I'm just trying to challenge myself, and I think 100-mile buckles are cool. So I'm hoping I can get another one at the Canyons. I started posting videos somewhat regularly about 4 months ago. So if you're not following already, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. This was my build towards the Canyons 100. We are 1 week away from race day, but I have a feeling no matter how this race goes, I feel like it's just the beginning for me. Because at the end of the day, I'm just an average dude who was influenced to start and is determined to finish. Let's go. Peace.